Hello guys, welcome to the ThriveBros. Another episode, we're back. I'm Bartek. I'll be your host today. I'm joined by Timek, who will be joining me as a co-host.
Hey there, guys.
Okay, and today's topic is going to be phone/screen addiction. Yeah, I think we didn't settle for which one we wanna do, so we kind of did both.
I mean, they are kind of one and the same. They have the same premise, we could say.
Kinda, you could say that, I guess.
Okay, so for starters, I would ask you, Bartek, do you think you're addicted to your phone?
I wanted to ask you the exact same question.
I'm sure I'm not addicted. That's one thing. But I have evidence. Do you have evidence?
You have evidence that you're not addicted. Okay.
Yes. I mean, you could call it that.
I believe I'm not. So I don't know if I were addicted, I would say the same.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying I have evidence, since I'm using an app that measures my time usage on my phone. And it also classifies people into groups. So if you have someone that uses phone for over 4 hours a day, they are really addicted. If under, they are dependent on their phone. I'm in the group that is around an hour. And that is the group that isn't really addicted to their phone. They use it when they have nothing to do. Like I mostly use my phone just to message somebody, maybe read something, but not much more. So I'm sure that I'm not really addicted to it, since if I don't have it on me, I'm not really having any problems with it.
Since we were planning to do this episode, I started paying attention more to the times I grab my phone, and it would be I would just grab my phone and then self-reflect instantly and put it down without even turning it on. It's so weird that when you're bored, you just instantly grab your phone subconsciously. It's so weird. And you always go to the same apps because you have them in the same spot on your phone, right?
Yeah, I kind of want to add to that so that when I deleted a few apps on my phone that I used to use a lot, the first thing I would do for another few days would be to go to literally the same spot on my phone and try to use this app, but I don't have it anymore. So I would be like, I'm looking for an app with like my muscle memory. I would go to that app, like maybe sometimes even to another app, and find that I've deleted it, and like reflect over myself that yeah, I don't have it anymore. Why am I going even there? And it's a funny thing. It's easy to really get addicted and to have this muscle memory of those apps. So I think that if you just changed your phone layout a bit, you'd be so lost for a few days. And I think it may even reduce your screen time, although I'm not really sure of the science behind that.
Okay, so let's start with issues that occurs when you have a screen addiction. What what physical health issues would you name? Do you have anything?
Physical, I mean, I would, first of all, I would count in sleep because
Yeah, sure.
yeah, it is easy to get sleep deprived when you're using your phone. It's easy to stay a lot of time on it and just go to sleep later, wake up and use your phone. And during that period, since you're using your phone, going to sleep, using your phone again, sometimes it's really easy to like go to sleep with a headache, wake up without it. and get it within like 10 or 15 minutes because you're just using your phone again. So I would also count in headaches too of you overusing your phone. Uh, com- uh, Coming back to sleep, s- you're not really using your phone, putting it down and immediately going to sleep. There will be a few minutes, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20, when you'll be trying to go to sleep, but your brain still isn't really ready for it. So I would say that those two are kind of the biggest physical problems, I would say. It may also probably have some issues with your eyesight, although that really depends on your phone. Like there are phones who have something in place so your eyesight doesn't get worse. So yeah.
Okay, so with sleep, I actually thought of two ways. That first you mentioned, the second you didn't. So of course sleep disturbance, but through blue light exposure. So basically screens emit blue light that can interfere with the production of melatonin in your body, and that's a hormone that regulates your sleep basically. So blue you can visualize it as when your eyes see blue light, they don't want to go to sleep because they feel like it's sun. So basically, if they see sunlight, you're not gonna be sleepy if you see sunlight, and that's how your eyes feel. That's how you feel exposing yourself to blue light late in the night. And the second one is overstimulation. You probably have friends that always tell you that they can't sleep, so they just play some video games to kill time. And it's actually all the way around because they can't sleep because they play video games. They don't play video games because they can't sleep.
Yeah, I find it really funny because many people are like, yeah, I couldn't sleep for like 20 minutes, so I grabbed my phone, scrolled for an hour, went, tried going back to sleep, couldn't sleep for another 20 minutes, so I grabbed my phone again, and it's like, just wait another 10 or 15 minutes, you'll go back to sleep. It's just that if you're using your phone that much, if you're if you're using your phone for an hour and try to go back to sleep for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you find that it's not really working, it's because you're still using your phone. You don't really, your brain doesn't really relax in that period of time. And if you've just waited like 30 minutes, maybe even more sometimes, you would get sleepy after that time. It's just that you're still overstimulating your brain.
Okay, so with that, I would move on to the mental health issues.
I mean, first of all, uh, I'd say that many people use their phones because they really want to be in contact with other people. So it's like kind of the fear of missing out, that you want to be on top of everything. And when you don't have this phone, people are kind of uncomfortable, I would say, without it. They don't know anything. And I would say that this is a thing that shouldn't really be a problem. That if you don't know that your friends are in the cafe or something, that they've bought something, you aren't really missing out on anything. And it's just that you've used your phone for so long that your brain really needs to know what is going around, like everything. And without it, you're just you're kind of disturbed. Your like inner peace is disturbed without it, and that's like having this phone really makes you have those emotions. As I've said, you have this fear of not knowing. You have those emotions which shouldn't really be there, which appear just because you're using your phone too much.
Yeah, basically you get to know things that you don't need to know, that are unnecessary. Our parents didn't have social media. They didn't know what their friends were doing, whether they were in a cafe, whether they were, I don't know, spending time with their grandparents. They didn't know that things. So their social events were a lot more interesting because they had things to talk about. They didn't know anything that happened.
Yeah. And the second thing was that if you want to like go out with your friends today, you'll write to them and they'll give you an response in like half an hour. And our parents didn't really have that. They would go up to their friends to their like house. They would like ring
Doorbell.
or yeah, ring the doorbell or like knock on the door. Sometimes there wasn't anybody. Sometimes the friends had friends over, and it just made for a bigger social connection. Because as I said, if the friends already had someone over and you went up to them, you automatically would meet someone new. If you wanted to like go out play with someone, you now have more people to play with. It was just a much clearer social connection, I would say, because you just didn't know everything.
Probably spend a lot of time on social media while you're using your phone or even on your computer or laptop. And social media, of course, can give you a lot of anxiety, can lead you to negative self comparisons. You may feel inadequate because you see all these perfect looking guys or girls and you just can't compare yourself because they have perfect lighting, perfect angle, and you see this fake personas that they created that are not true and you compare yourself to them.
Yeah, the funny thing is that most of them, even if they have those pictures, like either those pictures were taken care of in some kind of Photoshop or they have some kind of filter over them, or they have really the perfect conditions, like the perfect lighting, the perfect pose, angle. Like there are so many things that have come into them, and if you looked at the same people in like a normal situation, they wouldn't really look the same. Like the difference is really noticeable, and it's just kind of people lying on the internet.
Spending a lot of time on social media will also lead to reduced attention span. If you look at your friends today, none of them has good attention span. If you were to sit them down and make them watch a movie, a normal movie, they couldn't even watch a movie without grabbing their phone. Probably, most of them. They couldn't read 5 pages of a book without getting distracted. This constant stimulation that you experience on social media, the rapid pace of digital media, can reduce your ability to focus and sustain your attention.
Yeah, uh, in previous video I mentioned that I was in the summer house with my friends, and we would like play music. I swear this connects to the topic. And I would play music that I listen to, which is mostly a few minutes long. It sometimes even comes up to 7 minutes or 8. And most of them don't even have really a music video, it's just plain album cover. And my friend would add like titles which were not even covers, it was like a music video for some action scene. So this video would take like a minute or a minute 30. It wasn't even the full song, but it had some action scenes in the back. And from my point of view, I'm just thinking that yeah, he's just addicted to short-term content because he can't even have any normal song playing without anything happening in the background. And at most, if he likes the song, he will play like a minute of it, and he needs to have some action in the background, otherwise he's just bored with it.
I don't know how to call it, but I'm gonna call it brain deadness, basically. So, passive content consumption, you basically spend too much time consuming digital content that you start to passively scroll. You don't even pay attention to what you're watching. And then when you log off, you click off this social media, you are still in this passive mode. You're not even the main character in your own life.
Yeah, it's easy to notice people scrolling, and it's not even like they are really looking at what they are scrolling. So many people are just scrolling, and if the first second doesn't really get their attention, they will just scroll past it. And you'll just look at them, and through 10 minutes of scrolling, they will like look at 10 videos and scroll past 1,000. It's really disturbing because if you're even on the social media, if you're looking for things, if you're watching stuff, at least actually watch it. Like, I'd much rather see someone look at their phone and watch something on it than look at their phone and just scroll with their fingers like for 1,000 times, not even looking at those things. Because if you're just scrolling, like, what even are you getting from that? Like, you don't even notice what you have just watched. You're looking at the videos for half a second. Then you watch a video that takes 10 seconds. It's literally just a time waste. You're not even getting anything from it.
Okay, let's move on to the social and behavioral issues. What are the things that you observed in your probably in your friends if they use social media a lot, if they use phone a lot?
I'd say that in in some situations, it is easy to notice that people are just staying at their phones. Like, you go to a, I don't know, restaurant, you chat with your friends, and you're still waiting for your food. So a few people take out their phones, then another few, then everyone is sitting on their phones, and it's kind of hard to keep up the conversation. It's is really easy in social gatherings, and sometimes even in family gatherings, which is kind of disturbing to me. I think we've mentioned it in one of the previous episodes, is that our grandma didn't really use her phone that much, and nowadays she is even one of the first persons who takes out their phone in a family gathering. And it is kind of disturbing because at the end of the day, you're sitting there with your friends, you're the only one that doesn't use your phone, and everybody else is just stuck to it, like glued to it.
It's kind of messed up that even older people are falling for that.
I think like older people are easier to really get to that point, like when they understand technology at the like at least at the beginner point, so they can use their phone pretty freely. It's easy for them to get kind of addicted to it since nothing before really was on that level. However, children nowadays shouldn't get so easily addicted as it's always uh, it's always possible for them to use that, and that doesn't make it so that they should always use it. They should learn to distinguish between having the option to use it during a social gathering or using it when they have nothing to do.
You know, I'd say it's the other way around, because children these days are growing up with phones in their hands, basically. So they are taught to just use their phones when they're bored. But our parents, our grandparents are not. They grew up in a way that basically without technology. So they know how to talk face to face. They know how to keep your eye contact, how to keep conversation. That's that's kind of my point, that if your friends use too much social media too much, yeah, we kind of circled to the social media, but use too much of their phone, they hyperstimulate themselves. When you have a conversation with them, a conversation won't be hyperstimulating. It won't be interesting the whole time. And it's messed up that when you're talking to them, they would just grab their phone and look through it for no reason, just because they got bored.
I mean, I kind of agree with you, but not on everything. And that is that, first of all, the thing is that kids are using their phones because they learned to use them from their parents. It's not that they started doing it from nothing.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's still because of the time we grow up in. Most parents are not so smart, let's say, and they don't think that giving your kids a phone at a young age might not be good for them, might not, might cause developmental issues in their children.
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it them being not smart, but not having the foresight. So they just don't really get it that giving them phone every day with no limits now will just make them a vegetable in a few years. Like when I was younger, my parents would really limit it to how much I could use it. Later on, when I became sometime somewhat older, I had my own phone, I had my own like tablet and stuff. And then it kind of didn't have any more limitations. So that's what I would call the dark period of my like life. So I would literally sit like not dark but a worse period of my life. So I would literally sit on my phone without limits, like watch a YouTube video, eat some breakfast, watch another one, watch a YouTube video while I'm eating the breakfast, and would just use my phone all the time, would use my console all the time. However, I still think that since I started from the period of my parents really limiting it to me, and sometimes even having to do certain things so that I could even use my electronic devices, it made me kind of more resistant to it. And after some time, I'm back on not using it that much.
Now, when I see young generation, I know it's weird when you were saying that when you're 19, but still, when you see people, let's say 10 years old, 10-year-olds, they can't even eat a meal without a YouTube video. They can't go a day without their phone. They can't, even if they spend time with their friends, they spend time scrolling TikTok. And I know that because I have a niece that is a 9-year-old now. I think, around 9 years old. So when I see her, that she can't focus on one thing and she's basically constantly going through her phone, through TikTok, through YouTube, and she's consuming the stupidest content you could imagine. Not only she's destroying her attention span, but she's literally making herself dumb.
Yeah, when I when I was younger, I would often go to my friend's place, and back then I was like, yeah, so how much can we play? And they would be like, yeah, we can just play, and there's no real issues. And I was like amazed that you can even do that. Like, there's so much time you can play. And I would literally go to their house, play, barely talk to them because I was playing one game, they were playing the other, and then come back to my house. And now, looking back at it, I'm really happy that I had those limitations. I have like a few hours of playing at most. Because if I would play every day for as long as I wanted, it would really reflect on me now. I would be hardly ever without some kind of screen or some kind of device, just much more addicted to it. And limiting yourself early on really proved to help.
Okay, with that, I would move on to the next point, which is you probably find yourself disturbing your work or your study with phone. Let's say you want to study for exams, you want to do some productive work, but you just grab your phone out of nowhere and you lose all your focus, all your momentum throughout your work.
Okay, sorry, now I'm back. I had to turn my lights on because it's literally gray outside. It isn't even, or it may be raining, but it is the usual Polish weather. Yeah, okay. Coming
Yeah,
back.
it's the Polish summer.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, coming back to what Bartek has just said. When you're working and when you're working and you not really like your work, but you're not really uncomfortable in it, with it, and you stop for even a minute or two to just grab your phone, do something, you get out of this comfort zone. You stop being in this like work mood, and at this point all of your thought processes of all of the things you are thinking, you are doing, just come to a halt. You stop really thinking of them the same, and during this period when you're working for an hour you really got into the mood. You don't even feel like time is passing that slowly. You're just in this zone, and you stop just to scroll for a minute or two. It really gets you out of it, and you just come back to doing the slow work, to not really remembering what you were supposed to do.
I'd say you can't even get in the so-called flow state because of this distraction. Because when you study and it feels hard, you're just gonna distract yourself with phone. You're just gonna go on YouTube, you're gonna open Instagram and scroll for a little because it got hard. So
Yeah, I get the point. I had similar experiences during my study sessions, I would call them. So when I had a test coming up and really had to study because it was like biology and I knew literally nothing on it. I didn't even know what we were doing during that lesson. I would pick up the book, read like a chapter, then start using my phone for a few minutes because the chapter was really boring. look at the chapter, not know what I have just read, not really remember what I've even read like 5 minutes before. Try reading it again, then not understand anything because I kind of got distracted and I'm not even sometimes thinking of studying. I'm like doing this and I'm thinking, yeah, I could really read another chapter of some kind of book I'm reading, or I could watch another video. Oh, that video was really cool. And I'm back at the end of the chapter, still not remembering a thing. Then it would be just either I would sometimes even give up. I was like, yeah, biology isn't even that important. I'll do something about it. Or I would learn for another hour because I just can't get really past a chapter and remember what I've just read because I'm just not interested in it, and thinking of the things I could do instead are just so much more mesmerizing. So that was an easy time waste most of the time.
I would sum it up that basically using too much of your phone, having too much screen time reduces your overall life enjoyment. You overuse your overuse of screens lead to a lack of enjoyment from other areas of your life, from your hobbies, from your let's say ex favorite activities, because you don't get hyper stimulated by them. It's hard sometimes to do them because you may be tired.
I'd say that after some time of using your phone, I would literally scroll, and when I started using my phone, sometimes I would find a funny video, I would laugh at it, then maybe watch it again because it was so funny. And when I got much more addicted, I would scroll literally for hours. It was like I wouldn't find even a funny video for a whole day, and even if I found one, I would forget about it like 5 minutes later. It was like I would still find videos that I thought were funny. I just like didn't really express that. I wouldn't laugh on it. It was so rare for me that the videos I thought were like, yeah, really funny, but it wasn't the same level. I just got so used to this fun level, to this laughing, to just having this enjoyment of that I didn't really enjoy it that much anymore. It was just, yeah, I think it's funny, but does it make me laugh? Am I really enjoying watching it, or I just think it's funny?
You know, that's the other thing. I believe that it's more of a social anxiety thing, I'd say, because we are so used to nowadays to just have your phone and scroll and see something funny and go like, you're not even laughing properly. You just you see the difference if you were to laugh normally and just laugh with a small dick energy. Okay, so with that, I would move on to how to reduce or how to fix your screen addiction. My first point would be to set time limits. So Timek has mentioned in the beginning that he use apps or an app that show his screen time daily, and so he knows exactly how much time does he spend on and on what app, so he can manage it better.
Yeah, the thing is that I really like this app. However, it has one issue: is that first of all, if you go on an app, it shows you in like left upper corner how much time you spent on this app. I really like this feature, and like if let's say half an hour passes, the timer will turn red and it will say to you that you've overused that app, and you have two options. So you can't use this app for the rest of the day, or you can get like 2 minutes of the screen time. And the thing I said that there's one minus to it is that first of all you have to open this app in the morning so that it works later. It doesn't work all the time. So if you really want to get off your phone addiction, you just need to go into it early in the day, and it's fixed. You see everything. As I've said, you can really have those limits so that after half an hour, after 50 minutes, an hour, or however much you put in, the app will want to kick you out. And as I've said, it measures your usage time monthly, weekly, daily. So, for example, I checked mine before the recording, and I would have like around 2 hours during the last month and around an hour during this week. So, this kind of shows that I did progress with using my phone. And another thing is that you can I will most likely, if I remember, I will put down the app in the description, so you have the exact one I'm talking about. And I forgot what the second thing is that if you have some apps, like maybe you work, you need some kind of apps that you wouldn't really want to be kicked out from, you can put them in like the not important but helpful apps, so that it won't really kick you out. So if you're reading something, maybe researching something, and I don't playing chess, which isn't really unhelpful, isn't really bad for you, I'd say, then you can put those in those categories, and it won't really measure it up to your full, won't really add it up.
The next helpful tip I would name is creating a routine. Having a daily schedule without any time basically for any time block to use your phone. You just have your schedule filled with productive tasks will help you not to grab your phone every time you're bored, every time you don't know what to do, because you have your schedule, you know exactly what you have to do on a certain time.
Yeah. Also, if you have this type of schedule, you can do kind of a weekly one. So in my schedule, when I first started getting off my phone, I would put in a day, I think it was Tuesday, where I wouldn't use my phone at all. Like the best I could do was message my mom or like answer her call, something like that. I wouldn't allow myself to use TikTok, use YouTube, play any games. The only thing I could do was communicate if I needed to. And think that those days just without my phone, just without using it, really helped me get over it faster. At this point, I'm not really doing them because, as I've said, I'm in a much better area of using my phone than I was before. So, as I've said, my weekly average is around an hour, and before it was, I think, 4 or 3.5, something like that. That was when I first started. So, those few days where at this point, you think that you don't have much to do. You can't use your phone, you can't watch TV, use your PC. I would literally limit all those things. So I would go for some walks, go to the gym as usual, and just have this freedom, not being interrupted with all of these stimulants.
One of the things that I think is the most helpful is designating screen-free zones. So, for example, you decide that I'm gonna suggest three possible examples. There's probably more that you could add, but these are, I believe, the best. So no screens in bed. So basically, you don't disrupt your morning with scrolling, with watching something, and you don't disrupt your evening and bedtime with exposing yourself to the blue light. Second one will be no phones in when you're going to the toilet, because I know from my own experience that when you just need to take a shit, you will gonna grab your phone with you and spend at least half an hour scrolling through TikTok, through Instagram for no reason. And the third one is screen-free meals, basically. So you allow yourself to enjoy the meal fully without distracting yourself screen with screens and with social media and your phone.
Yeah, I'd say that as you've mentioned, using your phone on the toilet is such a usual phenomenon, so that when I was little and I was mostly the one using my phone in my family, like I was using it the most, I would, as you said, sit for half an hour on the toilet, and like at that moment my parents were banging on the door because they needed to shit too, and I was like not even really done because for most of the time I was just using my phone. However, now that I mostly got over it, is that some first of all I have one toilet, so that's kind of the issue, I would say. So that somebody is sitting on the toilet for like 20 minutes because they are using their phone, and I just come and I'm like, yeah, I'll wait till they go out. I wait for a few minutes. Nothing really changes. I wait for another few, and and at the end, it's like you wait 10 minutes, they go out finally, and if I'm like, yeah, I'll bang on their door to remind them that there's one toilet, they need to go out. They go out within like 20 seconds because they just sat there and used their phone. It wasn't that they needed to take care of something. It wasn't that it that shitting took them that much time. It's just that yeah, that they were using their phone because they started doing it there and did it until somebody reminded them of it.
Okay, so let's move on from the shitting and let's go into mindfulness practices. So first one will be meditation, and basically meditation helps you improve your focus and reduce the urge to grab your devices. You're more mindful. You're just happy and enjoying. You're enjoying more just sitting with somebody, sitting and talking to them. You don't feel the urge to grab your phone. The second one is mindful usage, I'd call it. So basically, whenever you grab your phone, you are conscious that you're grabbing your phone. You're aware that you grab it, and you can decide whether you actually want to grab it, you actually need it to do something on your phone, or whether you just grabbed it because you felt bored.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing you mentioned before, so that you would wake up, take up your phone, and realize that yeah, what am I even picking it up for? I don't need it at the moment. So just to remind yourself when you pick it up that do you really need it, or are you just bored? Are you going to take it to like message somebody, or take it and sit in your bed for another half an hour just because you found some funny video?
One thing that I would add it is to not only have this screen, free from screen zone in your bed. I would say that you should have phone free mornings, because honestly, Do you actually need to check your phone when right after you wake up? Do you actually need to know if somebody messaged you? If it was an emergency, they would call you. You would know. And I had a lot of restraints from that because I thought I shouldn't disable my notifications. I shouldn't because it may. So basically, I disabled my notifications so it wouldn't distract me during some important tasks. I wouldn't lose focus. Let's say reading, recording a video. So I had these restraints that something might happen, some emergency might happen. But if you think about it, how many emergencies happened in the last 2 years? And even if something would happen, would you be the first person to call? Probably not, if you genuinely think about it.
Yeah, I would say that for me, it was it was not even a choice because I start with I don't have the notification sound on because it just kind of annoys me, and I don't get notifications not because I turned them off. No, my phone was like, yeah, you don't get them. Like I get some messenger notifications, 5 minute passes and they disappear. So if I didn't notice them the moment somebody messaged me, I won't see them anymore until I open the app. I have the same with like literally every social media, like every communicator, every place that I message with my friends, that for some reason they just disappear. And I don't think that's how it's supposed to be. Like they should stay up there until I delete them or look through them. However, my phone decided that I won't be needing those, and I just don't see them. And yeah, it comes in nicely that, as you said, I don't feel like I need to check those communicators all the time. Because at the end of the day, all of those notifications are mostly spam. Like your friends are just talking about the dog they've seen or something like that. Nothing really mindful is there, and just because you see those notifications, you hear them, you feel the need to check them, and they're not worth it 90% of the time.
Yeah, I'm a big pusher of turning off notifications on all of your group chats. I have my all of my group chats muted for 2 years now, 3 years, because I just realized that most of the time it's not important. That's the first thing. And the second thing, most of the time it's not even about you. They're not messaging you. You don't need to react. A lot of the times, a lot of time, it's just a conversation between two people. It's a private conversation with people just observing it. It's so weird. So you really don't need to know what happened to that dog somebody saw. How is the weather in the place somebody's currently at? You don't need to know these things.
Yeah, you really get this idea after you've been in some group chat with a few girls. Because guys message themselves, and it's like, yeah, we're meeting there at 5. Yeah, yeah, I'll be there. That's the whole conversations. And girls will talk about everything. And if you're on a group chat with girls, it's literally the same idea of two people talking, and the rest are just kind of passive observers. They don't interrupt. However, it works the other way, so that there are only girls talking, and guys don't look through the messages because there are like 200 per minute, and you don't even have the option to look through them, and you're like, yeah, there are 100 notifications, I won't look through them, because reading that 100, they will write another 100, so you're stuck in this loop. And
Yeah, you just mark it as read, and
yeah, exactly, don't even look through it. 100% it wasn't anything important.
yeah, most of the time. Okay, so are there any tips that you would give?
I know that you mentioned mornings without your using your phone. However, this should also apply to your evenings. So just before you go to sleep, you shouldn't use your phone for even like 2 hours, 3 hours. Uh, there was a time when I started doing that, and it really feels good. People who say that they can't sleep, like yeah, they just can't sleep, they have bad night sleep. I was one of them that I would sleep for like those 8 hours, 9 hours. However, I still wouldn't be rested. However, when I would stop using this phone in the evenings, when I would when I was like, yeah, it's 8 p.m., I'm going to sleep at 10 p.m. I would put down my phone, not use it for those 2 hours, and when I woke up, I would actually feel rested, like well rested, and that's just the issue of using your phone too much. When you use it less, you feel better rested, you feel just better after those sleep, and you sleep easier. It's not like you chill in your bed for 20 minutes because you just can't sleep. It's just that you feel sleepy, you go to bed and sleep within a few minutes.
Another tip I would give is that if you feel like you are not on the level to control yourself properly, I would advise you to not take your phone with you when you go out. So try to meet your friends without taking your phone with you. Go to the gym without your phone. Go to anywhere basically without your phone. Let's say your mom asked you to buy something. You don't need your phone going to a shop to do groceries.
I mean, there are sometimes situations when you go to the shop, your mom asks you to buy bread, there's no bread, so you should ask her whether you should buy something else or but those are kind of rare situations. It's not like there's going to be missing bread in a bakery. So as I've said, there are situations when there will happen to be situations when just contacting will help. However, as I've said, it's not really a usual thing, so no need to worry. Like if you have a shop nearby, the worst like you can still go up, like come back to your house, ask your mom, and still go to the shop. Like how much time are you going to waste? 5 minutes? Like that's just an excuse if you think of it.
Another thing you could do is sleep with your phone outside of your bedroom. It just gives you this free phone zone that you can't really cheat. It's not like you're subconsciously gonna grab your phone because it's not in your room. It's not in the room. So you have to physically do the activity to put it somewhere else so it wouldn't disrupt your, first of all, evening, your sleeping, and second of all, your morning.
Yeah, the only issue with it is that if you have an alarm clock on your phone, then it is kind of a problem, I'd say. But there are still like alarm clocks with some normal clocks, and you just don't have the issues of using your phone.
Early in the morning. Yeah. Another thing is to keep your phone out of your sight. Whenever you work, whenever you want to study, just mute it, first of all. And second one is just get it out of your sight or even out of your room because it's gonna distract you. It's gonna distract you. When you want to read and you see your phone in a corner of your eye, you're gonna grab it when you see it, let's say light up because somebody messaged you, when you even just see it. You're gonna want to check if somebody messaged you. And the second one, the third one, the next one I wanted to say, okay. The next one is that it's a weird one, but if you give it a think, it's a game changer. Use your phone only while standing up. Basically, using your phone gives you this feeling of being comfortable, and when if you add this feeling comfortable to sitting at the same time, it's gonna close you in this loop, basically, that you're just comfortable and you don't need to get off your phone to stand up. And when you force yourself to stand up every time you use your phone, you either not gonna use your phone because you don't want to bother standing up, or you're gonna stand up, so you're gonna be uncomfortable standing up, so you're gonna use your phone less. And the last one I have is to log off your accounts. So you can log off your Instagram account on your phone every time you finish using it. And then every time you click on it, you're gonna have to log on. So you're gonna double question yourself. If you really need to do that, it's that extra barrier that you add, so you don't so you instantly don't see everything pop up, every new video, every new picture.
I would expand on that. Uh, so just delete your apps because, as you said, you can still log on to them. It's not like you deleted your account. However, just the process of going into the browser, searching like Instagram, TikTok, going into it, logging into it, then remembering if you have the right password, you probably don't, then checking your email to reset the password, just having these few things in between using those apps makes you think that yeah, it's probably not worthy, like yeah, not worth it. Yeah,
Yeah, and you can just use the desktop versions of the social media if you really need to use them. You don't need to have it on your phone at all.
exactly.
Okay, so if you don't have anything to add,
Yeah, I don't.
stay a lifelong student and be that guy in your friend group that just is happy to be there, doesn't need your phone to hyper stimulate yourself. You're just happy to be there. See ya.
See ya.